Let's ask the question to our first in-studio guest today, MIke Littlewood, head baseball coach of the BYU Cougars, who are 34-15 and positioning for perhaps a championship run in the final week of West Coast Conference play. Mike, welcome to Studio B.
Thanks.
Looking sharp as
always.
Good to be here.
Good to be here.
Which team not named Utah, you played them last night, do you love to hate the most?
You know, I heard you when I was driving in, and immediately I thought, I hate every single team we're playing against. And I really do. I mean, I have bad thoughts against teams we're playing in the other dugout, and it's probably not normal. But then when they're not playing us, hey, I'm good with them. I want Utah to win. I mean, I really do. I want their baseball program to succeed and do well. But man, I sure hate them when they're playing us. And it's like Santa Clara. Starting tomorrow at 6 o'clock, I'm going to hate them too for 3 days. That competitiveness, you know, you just at all costs win and just do whatever you can and hate the other team, and then hey, pat them on the butt and let them get out of here.
Hey, thanks for letting us kick your behind.
Now, we're really excited to hear this story because we don't know where you're going with this, but we had talked earlier in the show about a hawk on campus that is causing some, we'll use the word of the day, some angst.
Some angst.
with BYU students, and you said you actually have a story about the hawk on campus.
We do. It's down in St. George. It wasn't a hawk, not this particular, but it reminded me of an experience. For about 2 weeks at Dixie, we had to park on the road and walk about 75 feet to get into our offices, which were in the old gym in St. George. And there was like 4 or 5 blackbirds that were sitting right above in the trees right above, and you would walk for that 75 feet and they would just dive and attack you.
What in the world?
So we would have to like throw food over all here, let them go down and get the food and sprint into the offices. It was pretty amazing, and that was my upper campus office, and we had one at the baseball field, so I just stopped going to the upper campus office. They would come down and swoop you, and you'd have to duck, and it was pretty exciting for about 2 weeks. I don't even know what happened to them. So
and thus the horror movie,
not uncommon to have a bird attacking people on campuses.
Came to real life. Goodness.
Yeah.
I jokingly said, can we get Mike Rucker somewhere? I mean, I'm sure it's against some federal law to be in a hawk with a baseball.
Where's
whatever.
Randy Johnson?
But
there we go.
Can we brush him back a little bit, you know?
Just go high and tight one time.
Some chin
See
music.
if he'll get out of here.
That's really good stuff. We're with BYU baseball
Pete
coach
on
MIke
line one,
Littlewood. We've discussed brushing back hawks and diving birds and which teams we love to hate. Okay, get the good stuff out of the way. Now for the actual baseball. Last night, an 8-1 loss to Utah. And on the surface, it's like, BYU lost to Utah. You won the series, hate losing to Utah. But there are more important things at stake this week. Let's just take it for what it is. Like the West Coast Conference title, greater than beating Utah out of conference a third time.
Well, you know, and that's kind of the approach, just what you said encapsulates what our attitude was last night. That's what I felt like. I mean, we want to win. It's interesting. I've talked to so many people about our pitching and what the injuries have done and how it has moved guys out of different roles into new roles. And Easton Walker started for us last night. Did a good job. Went 3 2/3. But that's not Easton's role on our team. It wasn't when we started the season. And so with Kendall Moats going down and Maverick Buffa going down and Connor Williams going down and Hayden Rogers going down, although we do have Connor back, it's just kind of put guys that were supposed to be role players for us into have bigger roles. And last night was just, I wasn't going to throw Senatiempo if we didn't have to. I wasn't going to throw Gates. And when we got down 4-0 and 4-1, I thought let's just hang tight. This is doable with our team. There's going to be an inning we're going to put up 3 or 4 runs. But Utah made pitches, they made plays. I mean, I kept saying, hey, they're diving all over the place and throwing guys out. They played great, and I sit in the dugout. I'm like, hey, let's just keep making them make great plays. They did. And maybe I should have said, let's just hit it where they're not. And that would have helped more. But they made great plays. The shortstop made some incredible plays last night. They deserved to win. But on the silver lining is we're fully staffed, ready to go on our pitching staff for this weekend.
Well, you mentioned shortstop and new roles. Your shortstop, Hayden Nielsen, you put him on the mound last night.
Did he beg you to do this at some point?
No, Hayden's been throwing bullpens every week. Jason can attest to this. He's been throwing bullpens just in case we need him. And when we saw some pitchers go down, then we were really kind of on it. Schneemann can throw a little bit too. They were both high school pitchers. But it's obviously not the role. He's not going to go in and close a game for us, but he could chew up some innings here or there. And that's what he did. He did what he needed to do. He chewed up an inning, and then Zach Brinkerhoff came in the last inning and got us an inning. It's better than having to throw Keaton Senatiempo in there, who threw 5 innings on Saturday, or Connor Williams, who we want totally fresh. If it was 4-4, then or 5-4 for one of the teams, I probably would have done things differently. But I wasn't going to throw guys in there that we're going to use this weekend, if we didn't have a chance to win. So that's the bottom line.
You saved some arms for the Santa Clara series, which rounds out the West Coast Conference regular season. And now that the Broncos are the most hated team in
tomorrow
your mind, starting tomorrow at 6 o'clock, how do you approach this series? What do they bring to Provo, and what kind of anticipation and feeling is there in the locker room right now for you and your team?
Well, Coach Dan O'Brien always has his teams ready to play. They play at a high level. They've got great energy. You can't be fooled by Santa Clara's record. That's the one thing. They play everybody tough. Unlike maybe Portland, who's struggled a little bit and they can get blown out here and there. Santa Clara really pitches it. They've got 3 really good starting pitchers, and with ERAs around 3.3, 3.4, and we'll see a left-hander on Saturday. But they'll really pitch it, and their offense can be, if you make mistakes, their offense can be pretty volatile. But I think if we stay with our game plan, just kind of execute what we're doing, I think we'll be fine. But we're going to have to put up some runs against good pitchers this weekend for sure.
There have been a lot of things about this season that have been the best since joining the West Coast Conference, and that brings us to our stat of the day.
It's the BYU Sports Nation stat of the day.
As you know, Coach, BYU baseball's 34 wins are the most since joining the West Coast Conference. The team had 32 back in 2013.
Season's not over yet.
Yeah, and it's not even
over yet. Yeah. Well, that's the object that when we start, try to win as many games as you possibly can. And our first year, we won 32 games. It's got a similar feel. Guys just go out there, they believe they can win. There's a lot of confidence, and even after an 8-1 loss, maybe the team we had in 2013, when we struggled a little bit, we would lose 8-1, and that would ruin us for a couple weeks. This is a different team. I mean, we feel like we've already put this behind us. We'll have a good practice here in about an hour and go to work Thursday through Saturday. It feels good. I mean, and we have to put up. There's Chance with his gait. We call it the step and drag. He'll step with his right and drag his left because he's hurt. But anyway, it feels good. I mean, it feels good just to believe that we can go out there every day and win ball games. 34-15
right now, and you've mentioned that. Those 3 special letters that we talk about so often between basketball and now baseball, RPI. Where do you feel like you need to be when this series is over with Santa Clara to feel good about your at-large chances to make an NCAA regional? Because you're floating around low to mid-40s, up into the low 50s at times. Where do you feel like you need to be?
I feel like we have to be right around 40. I mean, I really do. And I don't know, who knows what goes on with the committee behind closed doors. We've had presentations on RPI, and we build our schedule so it's RPI friendly, just like this. I mean, this season worked out great for us with Sanford and St. Louis having good years. And playing Kansas on the road and sweeping them, even though they're at the bottom of the Big 12, it's been good for us just to have that schedule and start off so well. But I think we're going to have to be right around 40. And I really believe that we'll first of all, I think, and this may be a question you're going to ask, I think the West Coast Conference should get 3 teams in this year. I mean, I feel like we're regional worthy. We have to finish strong. I feel like St. Mary's is regional worthy, and Gonzaga is playing really well, and they're regional worthy. Just kind of looking at everybody and who we played, and will we get that? I don't know. I mean, sometimes people think, well, you always think your conference is better than it is. Last year I thought we were probably 1 team. This year I think we're 3. So it's not always fair, but I know if we finish strong, we're going to have a better chance.
I know you've mentioned that the rotation, obviously, Mike Rucker's going to be your starter Thursday. Riley Gates will be the Friday starter. At one point during the week, Saturday was to be determined. Do you have a feel where that's going?
I think probably Connor Williams, since we didn't use him last night. I think that's kind of how we'll go. But it kind of all depends on Keaton Senatiempo can start for us. He was a starter in high school, and last Saturday he threw 5 innings and threw great. His freshman year he started on midweek starts. And so it will probably be Connor if he's feeling really good. We're hoping to get Jordan Wood back. We didn't even mention him. He went out with a forearm injury a couple weeks ago. So you might see Coach Herring out there throwing if we can find some eligibility for him. You never know. So.
Or Daniel Schneeman,
something
maybe.
there.
Schneeman, yeah, Schneeman can run it up there a little bit.
We talked about scoreboard watching yesterday with Hayden Rogers in studio, and when it comes down to the final week, it's just part of what baseball is when you're trying to determine seeding for the approaching West Coast Conference tournament and a potential regular season championship. BYU 1 game back of Gonzaga right now. Do you feel like this team, does your team feel the urgency like, hey, we need to sweep if we want to win the West Coast Conference?
Oh, clearly, yeah. We will have to sweep. St. Mary's plays at Portland. They're going to sweep them. I mean, that's just how you have to figure that. And the West Coast Conference actually came out with one scenario where BYU could not get in the tournament. And that's if USD sweeps Gonzaga, if Santa Clara sweeps BYU, and Pepperdine loses 2 out of 3 at home. If that happens, BYU out.
Whoa.
We don't think that's going to happen.
That's not going to
Yeah,
happen.
that's like worst case
And
scenario
so,
there.
as a coach, you're like, doomsday. Oh, that could happen. That could happen. We have to win this game, and that's just the way I think. But we have to sweep. If we all have the same record, it's co-champs, but it's for seeding. It doesn't matter who we play, and I'm being totally serious about that. It just really doesn't matter because you're going to face a good pitcher. You're going to face a top 3 round pitcher, in my estimation. Pepperdine, St. Mary's, Gonzaga, and us will have top 3 to 4 round starting pitchers on the mound. So it's going to be an interesting first day of that West Coast Conference tournament if BYU is in that tournament.
Looking forward to it. BYU and Santa Clara tomorrow on BYUtv and BYU Radio, 8 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Mountain Time. MIke Littlewood with us in Studio B, and I wanted to say this as you walk out. The last time we did a stat of the day with you on the show in studio, it was about how you had never beaten San Diego. And so we owed it to you to make this a positive one. 34 wins this season.
Yeah, let's go.
Coach, good luck against Santa Clara. Let's get you some BYU Sports Nation
I'll
karma
take
on
it.
your
Let's
way
go.
out, man.
Yeah.
The karma's been really good over the last week. We'll talk about that.
I want some of Kerry Roberts' karma.
Yeah, see, and that's what it's
see?
about.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, guys.